US Congress passes bill on next Dalai Lama. China opposes. US Congress on Tuesday passed a bill that reaffirms the right of Tibetans to choose a successor to their spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama. Any interference by Chinese officials will be met with serious sanctions, Central Tibetan administration said. China accused US of meddling in its internal affairs and warned US President Donald Trump against signing the legislation into law.
PSA makes it official United States policy that decisions regarding the successor of the Dalai Lama are exclusively within the authority of the current Dalai Lama, Tibetan Buddhist leaders as well as the Tibetan people. Any interference by the Chinese Communist Party officials is likely to be met with serious sanctions and be deemed inadmissible into the United States. Lobsang Sangay, the president of the Tibetan Civil Administration, or TA, which is known as the Tibetan government in exile, that is, called the legislation historic in nature. He says that this is a victory for the Tibetan spiritual movement and for their freedom struggle. As expected, the move by the US administration has infuriated China. China maintains that its leaders have the right to approve the Dalai Lama's successor, and many see this as a coercive attempt by Beijing to control Tibet, where ethnic Tibetans make up about 90% of the population. China has shown that it is willing to crush any Tibetan opposition. In 1995, Chinese authorities allegedly abducted a 6-year-old boy, Dun Chokil Nima. He had been considered a reincarnation of the second highest ranking figure in Tibetan Buddhism, the Panchen Lama. The boy has never been heard of since, while China appointed its own Panchen Lama in the region. However, the Tibet Policy and Support Act, or the TPSA, promises to give the power back to the Tibetan people and the Dalai Lama to choose his successor. Expectedly, the Chinese Foreign Ministry has accused the US of meddling in its internal affairs. Beijing has warned the US of signing the legislation into law.
In the past 4 years, under the leadership of Pompeo, the US has weaponized its visa policy and has, under the pretext of so-called Hong Kong-related, Xinjiang-related, Tibet-related, religious and human rights issues, continuously imposed visa sanctions on Chinese personnel. Such relevant actions have seriously interfered in China's internal affairs.
Environmental groups and Tibetan rights activists have also expressed concern about China's hydropower ambitions in Tibet. They allege Chinese overexploitation could affect the water supply downstream. The US legislation also proposes a regional framework on what troops entered the region in 1950. China calls it a, quote, peaceful liberation. However, Tibet has since become one of the most restricted and sensitive areas in the country and the world. The Tibetan spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, fled into exile in India in 1959 to escape persecution by Beijing after a failed uprising against Chinese rule. China regards the exiled Dalai Lama as a separatist. The current Dalai Lama is 85 years old and his successor would be needed by the Tibetan people.
Like, share, subscribe, and get notification.